Hi, welcome back to Full Cup Astrology. I'm Jen Keen, and this video is about a very action-packed full moon in Gemini. I'm going to give you a detailed description about what kind of energy you can expect during this full moon, how to best use it, and then I'm going to get into the sign by sign so that you have a better sense of the specifics of how this energy is playing out in your life. If you know your sun, moon, and rising, check all three. But if you just know your sun sign, which is your birthday, then that's going to show you one area of life where this energy is showing up. But astrology is complex and dynamic, and everybody is going to feel a little bit of all of the energy in different parts of your life. Let's get into it. Thank you to everybody who is commenting, liking, subscribing. It really means the world to me, and I am so thrilled to have hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo! So if you're liking this video, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notifications when I post my new moon and full moon videos. It is so much fun for me to talk about astrology with you and share my perspectives, and I hope it can become a discussion. So please write comments below and let me know how this energy is showing up in your life. So this Gemini full moon is happening Monday, November 27th at 1 a.m. in the morning, shortly after. But we're going to feel it over the weekend. This is another moon energy where it's really the weekend that's going to have this amplified energy. And I think when these new moons and full moons happen coinciding with weekend energy, there's a lot more potential for stuff to happen. I mean, weekends are when our lives are a bit more compared to when we're in the workday. I see our lives as being much more structured. Weekends, when we're socializing and seeing more people, that's an opportunity for more stuff to happen, more personal issues and situations to show up that are meaningful outside of our work and routine lives on the day-to-day basis. This full moon is happening in Gemini, which is a sign of curiosity, mental capacity, and activation, and it's a very cerebral energy. So people are going to be overthinking and analyzing, but really from a curious perspective. Gemini likes to be very chatty. There's a lot of communication activation with this energy. Because the sun, so at a full moon, the sun is opposing the moon. But the sun in Sagittarius is where all of the energy is. Mars is Cazimi, which is conjunct the sun, which gives Mars a amplified energy, but maybe not at its best. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. And Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini. So Mercury rules our mind, rules our chattiness. And this makes for a very fiery full moon, even though it's in an air sign, Gemini. So I think, and air fuels the fire. So there's going to be a lot of fueling the flame and increased passion, agitation, frustration. But at the same time, we have an energy with Saturn. It's challenging energy, but it's adding structure to this fire. It's adding importance. It's adding discipline. What I think is going on is that this is a continuation of the amplified energy we've had even through the summer and eclipse season in the fall, and now it continues, but it continues with a bit more discernment, a bit more education, a bit more understanding of what's going on. One, we're also getting used to this fiery energy. We're getting used to Mars intensifying everything, which has been happening for a little bit and will continue for a few more rounds. But this isn't just a lit flame anymore. Saturn is like the rocks around the campfire. It's contained. So this is a really good place where we have acquired some knowledge, some discipline to carry forth this flame in whatever part of life is being activated for us, but with a grounded sense of how to make this passion work for us. We're not, and if you're not, I mean, we're not just this lit flame being fueled by the wind and firing out of control, which we might be. And if we are, Saturn is going to come in and it's going to dampen that energy. It's going to put sand on the fire. It's going to wrap that fire in rocks so that it doesn't spread. But I think this Saturn moving forward energy that is affecting the Mars energy that is connected to this full moon, I think this is our wisdom kicking in. We've been on this, whatever's coming up at this full moon has been a journey for the last 6 months. And we've acquired wisdom, and we've acquired some practical pieces in how to move forward with difficult situations. And if we haven't, then Mars is going to crack the whip as it does and make sure that we're understanding how to move forward and what works for us and what doesn't. This full moon in Gemini is going to create emphasis on communication and mindset. But because we have so much energy in Sagittarius, beyond that, the focus of communication and mindset is on what is the best path forward? What is the highest potential that we have, and how can we carry that out in our language? And the universe, it's as if it's dishing out the perfect situations to challenge us in the most uncomfortable ways, to say, here you go. Here is the perfect situation to learn how to navigate with the best words, the best state of mind in the absolute most challenging scenario. And what better way to exercise a muscle of communication and knowledge than to throw you into the fire and say, okay, well, what spiritual lessons have you learned? Which practical life lessons have you learned? And how are you willing to implement them when you're really under fire? This full moon is happening at 4 degrees Gemini. So if you have personal planets or angles close to 4 degrees in Gemini, Scorpio, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you are going to feel this the most. If you have planets at 4 degrees in other signs, it might just be a bit more gentle. But overall, this is a fiery, passionate, ambitious energy that also has the structure behind it to get things done. With all of this communication activation, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and Mercury is sending out a ton of angles. In astrology, that's how the planets communicate with each other, is angles. I'll get into that in another video at some point, but basically the Gemini air mercurial energy is all fired up in challenging ways and in beautiful ways. Overall beautiful ways, but to the point that it becomes a bit more challenging. And I see that there is communication that is more evolved. It's connecting with the nodes in nice ways. I think that means that we are karmically reaching an evolutionary point with our communication, and this is the time to exercise it. All of the practice and change we've been working on. However, there is a potential to be lied to. There's a potential to have some illusion with the communication. And I don't think that if it's lying, that word sounds harsh to me, but I think that this is not pure lies, but the intention of making things soft and gentle and easier for another person out of love and care. Or there really could be people trying to get away with something, but I think for the most part, people are being extra gentle at this time, but behind that gentle front is actually a lot more anger and frustration than being led on. With Mars being another big player, and this is carrying on for a few months, so I want to talk about this energy because I know for myself it's creating a lot of turmoil and agitation and maybe drive to get things done, but this is a more uncomfortable piece of what we've been dealing with since the eclipses and moving forward. Mars can cut things out. Full moon is definitely a time of completion. So for many people, there might be something that comes to an abrupt end or has been working towards closure and eruption, and now is another piece of getting that done. Mars in Sagittarius is where we start to get aggressive about how we view the world, what our perspectives are, and how that compares to somebody else's views and perspective. If they're butting heads and not meeting in the middle, then that can create fights, friction, aggression, bullying, severing. And maybe it's time for some of those things. But if you don't want that to be the leader in your story, then keep in mind that you might be feeling the need to work with agitation and aggression. And it's an opportunity to find ways to soothe that, to express what's needed and soothe the rest. I have this in the background today: radical acceptance and appropriate action. This is been my mantras for the last few months. It seems like a lot of us are on a journey of trying to figure out how to manage emotions and boundaries in a better way. That communication really is everything. And rather than avoiding difficult conversations and situations, bringing things up in a very clear and concise way is the best way to really relate to people, and conflict can be a healthy part of it. With Mars ruling conflict, the conflict's going to show up. How do we move through that now? Do we act out of angry outbursts? Do we avoid the situation altogether? Do we find the words to express what we're feeling and hope people can meet us where we need them to? And if not, then potentially there is some severing that's going to occur. Mercury's role in this seems to be the sweet talker at the time of this moon. So watch out for that the words that are being said might not be the true story. The words that are being said might not be what's actually real. The words that are being said might sound sweet on the outside and be fueled with frustration and aggression on the inside. And maybe they're just sweet words. Maybe there is room, if you are in a situation where you're experiencing passion and enjoyment and the fire is showing up in that way, then maybe sweet words are a big part of this. There's a dreaminess that is connecting with Neptune and Mercury, but it's a square. It's a challenging dreaminess. So I think it's going to be more on the side of lack of truth, the wool being pulled over your eyes, so to speak. Watch out for rose-colored glasses and wanting to see the best out of the situation that might not be what's really going on. At the same time, this is an opportunity for our communication to match what we see in ourselves evolution-wise. Even though there's a chance that words are not exactly reality and not super clear, words are our saving grace during this energy. This is the positive energy that's happening in the sky. Otherwise, it's difficult energy. And, you know, like I said, it could be passionate, but chances are a lot of people are going to be facing challenges. And I know people are tired. The challenges have been a little bit heavier this year. But words, again, and our perspective, our higher perspectives, our spiritual perspectives, that's going to be the saving grace energy. So keep in mind that this is an exercise of change and evolution, and we're stepping into territory that is new, and that I think is a bit uncomfortable. This is a growing pains full moon. Venus is conjunct the South Node and opposing the North Node. This could very likely mean that some female or romantic character or source of pleasure is being cut, that this is no longer moving forward on our evolutionary path, that to go in the direction we need to go, something needs to be shed in one of those categories. Again, that's pleasure, could be sex, could be romance, could be a female, could be money, either the way that you spend money or a source of income. Something's changing around that. And keep in mind, if there's a loss showing up with Venusian energy, with a female, with pleasure, with romance, it is a purposeful loss. So even though loss is painful, severing things is painful sometimes, and I do see that happening, it is for the best. With this mixed bag of energy, I think a few things that I'm going to try to keep in mind is keeping my body moving, getting the frustration out through physical means, just to help feel better within our own bodies and what we're dealing with. You may see cuts and skin eruptions, just generally more of an inflammatory response in the body. And when that comes up, know that this will pass, it will heal, but those can be manifestations of the Mars energy. I'm covered in band-aids right now because I keep cutting myself, and that's can be one of the effects of Mars. And have the tough conversations. There are some good videos online. Andrew Huberman is one of them that has a podcast on tough conversations. I will put the link below. And any other resources that you have to just give yourself a little checklist before having some of those conversations, but have them. This, again, we're in more energy where the universe really isn't letting us get through it without taking the appropriate action. With this chaos of mental and verbal energy, and depending on where it's showing up in your chart, it can be really embodied. The radical acceptance is such a big piece this time. And the more we exercise that muscle of radical acceptance, I think the more we can get through these difficult, challenging energies and have better skills and tools moving forward overall, because avoiding conflict is not the way forward. It's not helping people get through to what they need to get through. And that's a bit vague, but I just think we're really in this space of walking through the fire and getting what we need out of life in the end as a result. One more thing is that I just wanted to add that the Neptune-Mercury square, I think, is feeling a bit like a Mercury retrograde. So for those of you who are familiar with Mercury retrograde, that is when Mercury isn't at its full optimal capacity. things start to go haywire, and dysfunctional computer stuff starts to have mishaps, and just generally the world can feel a bit wonky. Mercury squaring Neptune, this is fogginess, this is lack of mental clarity, things could go missing. Electronics might not be functioning, and our minds might not be functioning like mine. So keep that in mind, and I hope you have a lot of patience at this time. This is certainly an energy of exercising patience. And on that note, let's get into the sign by sign. Hi Virgos, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career, honors, public image. This is a time where something to do with home life could have to do with your mother as well. There's some heated energy there that is affecting your career, affecting your public image somehow. Maybe there's some balancing that needs to happen when it comes to your home and family life and your career and public image. Maybe there is healing that you're working on with what your upbringing and family lineage and anger and communication issues when it comes to home, and that is somehow having a big effect on your career and reputation out in the world. You are getting this forward movement with Saturn now, and this square, this Mars-Saturn square with your house of partnerships and home, there's some real frustration and discipline required with other people right now, with your family members, very likely, that there could be harsh boundaries that need to be set. Mercury is your ruler, and for Virgos and Geminis, but Virgo energy, really hone in on the Mercury skills that you embody. You have this ability to express, to play with words, to see the detail, and you're gonna have a sweet energy to your words. And it's really gonna help whatever situation is going on with this female, or romance, or pleasure with you. For you, it could be money, because Venus is in your second house and that rules assets. So if you're having challenges with money and finances are part of that, then I see you coming up with some good answers and resources. Saturn is asking you to get tough right now. Tough with other people, tough with significant partnerships, contracts, and home-related matters. There is a fire and a passion and an anger and an expression that needs to be let out at this full moon. I wish you all the best with this energy that's going on. Virgo, for you, you're experiencing more challenging energy than some of the other signs, but this really is going to have such a huge positive impact on how you're seen in the world, and it's going to be different for everyone. Marriage and status could be one of the things that shows up for some Virgos there, so maybe you are just going through a lot of sexual passion, and marriage is on the table, and partnerships are trucking along. That would be one of the very positive outcomes of this energy, but it can show up in a lot of conflict. Either way, this is really going to benefit your status and how other people see you. This could be directly benefiting your work somehow. Maybe you work from home and there's a lot of passion and drive and communication happening. That's just getting things done, signing contracts. Now that Saturn is going direct, you have more of a green light for that. But because the energy of this full moon is intense, if you are signing a contract and you need to, go for it. with Neptune playing some unclear energy here, give it a week or a few days if you can. But either way, Saturn is direct, and so you have a green light for that. Virgos, there's also an underlying theme of hidden psychological stuff coming up right now that part of this journey is uncovering. Could be psychological trauma, could be just pain and difficulty that is hidden most of the time, but it's coming to the surface for healing and release. So be patient with yourself. This can be a yucky, uncomfortable journey to uncover psychological hurt and trauma and bring it to the surface and really transmute it and transform it into something new. But in order to do that, we cannot bypass that energy. We can't just pretend it's not there, and that is being activated for you, that stuff that from your home life potentially that's hidden. And when it comes to psychological transformation from your family lineage, this is another big topic that you're facing. So lots of love and support to you, Virgo, dealing with this, with your home life, hidden life, and career and reputation. And this is hitting you in all the angles of your charts, which is the really more powerful energy, and this is just happens to be a little bit more challenging. But the reward will be worth it. It'll be different for everyone, and I hope that you are getting through it all right. I will see you next time. Libra, this is especially a more mental and cerebral energy for you, more so than other signs. This full moon is happening in your 9th house, which is all about higher learning, spiritual purpose, your views on the world. But this is big picture stuff. Something about how you view the world in the big picture is being opened and illuminated right now, and maybe coming to closure for some stuff that's old and time to be released. You have the sun, and which is opposing the moon at the time of the full moon. Mars, Mercury, that's in your 3rd house of day-to-day mental activity. This could have to do with emails, communication, neighborhood, short distance travel. This is really lit up, and you are either feeling passionate about any of these topics, maybe some of them, maybe there's some severing that needs to happen, maybe very likely your words, Libra, which is very interesting for me to see this for you, because Libra is gentle, diplomatic, the peacemaker. Libra, you can create peace in almost any situation, but this full moon looks like your tongue is a little fiery. So that could be really uncomfortable for a lot of you. But go with it in the way that needs action. If communication is needed, then it's going to fly out of your mouth. You do have Venus in your sign, so people are seeing you in a really good light. This is a really good time if you ever needed to get fiery, Libra. This is a time where you're supported to do that. Mercury and Neptune, there's some fogginess at work that you're dealing with. You're dealing with illusion when it comes to habits, maybe escapism, maybe things that are not clear in the work front. And that is maybe where some agitated communication is coming through to fix things. Someone at work could not be being clear with you. So watch for that words from others could also be something that is not quite honest. So Libra, I think you're learning how to be more direct, more assertive, especially when it comes to your day-to-day life and habits with people at work, in the workplace. That's definitely an area where there could be some fogginess, but you are being asked to really use communication to clear that up. And you're learning more discipline when it comes to your day-to-day activities. It could be discipline around habits, so that those habits are really working for you and not against you. And there's going to be a mindset and communication shift. Maybe you see something on the internet that really helps shift your habits. Maybe some short distance travel helps clear your mind and set the tone for a different lifestyle. Maybe your higher mind, something about your overall perspective of the world is shifting and changing, and that is going to create some changes in your workplace or how you operate on a day-to-day way. What do those tasks look like, and are they really being as optimal and efficient as they can? Because you have Pisces in this house, I think that typically for Libras, there's a quality of looseness around getting tasks done. You're not generally a very rigid person when it comes to getting things done. You might have other factors in your chart that add to this. So this isn't everybody, this isn't a general statement, but there is this influence for Libras. And Saturn going direct there right now is asking for more structure, more stability, more rigidness to getting things done. And in the end, you're just going to be able to get more done. You're going to be more productive at work. You're going to be more, your habits are going to really support you in beneficial ways. I also see that you could be getting support from a significant partnership at this time. For those of you who are coupled, maybe it's your partner that's really bringing some fortunate energy. There could be some balancing between pleasure for yourself and that which works for your partner. Those could be things that are maybe adding to the story in a light way that have to do with your perspective and have to do with your mental energy. Overall, Venus in your first house is giving you that air of beauty and pleasurable thoughts, and it will affect your psychology and your mindset in a positive way. There also could be something leaving, and with beauty stuff, I would be a little careful around this time. Venus is still in your sign and it's working very powerfully. It's at home there, but there could be more loss than you expect. So if you get a haircut, more might get taken off than you expect. If you want a lot taken off, this could be maybe you're losing a lot of weight. Maybe there's something that's a big loss in your appearance and beauty and psychology that might be working for you. So it could go for or against, but see how that plays out. And wishing you all the best, Libra. Enjoy your gift of gab and how fiery and lit up it is going to be. This is something that doesn't come very often for Libras maybe, so ride the wave, and I'll see you next time. Scorpio, let's talk resources. So this full moon is in your 8th house, which has to do with other people's resources, partners' resources, how you can make other people's resources support you. And you're really focused on your assets. You are motivated to either make the most of your assets. Perhaps some are getting severed, but the communication and the hot energy for you is all in your 2nd house of self-worth and what you do with your energy, time, and money. There might be some questions around pleasure and fun and hobbies and creativity, and maybe that is cutting into your resources in a way that you don't want to do anymore, and there's some changes that are coming up there. you are probably continuing to add more structure to hobbies and routines that bring you joy and pleasure. Maybe with children, there's a bit more structure happening there. Maybe if you have children, you are finding that you need to be more disciplined verbally with them, and that being nice all the time isn't working. You're starting to get to a place where you can be more rigid in your expression, and maybe trying to even create control in that way. Whether or not that's going to work or not, that is going to play out individually for everyone. And of course, some of you don't have children. So if you have a creative project, this is the energy for you, Scorpio, where your creativity and your words, if you're writing something, your worth and how you see yourself is really hyper fueling creativity. So jump into that energy if you are in the creative works of some kind. And really, creativity is everywhere, whether we think of our work in life as creative or not. Humans are creative beings, and there's going to be certainly a flare of creativity for you. At the same time, if you do have children, you might not be seeing everything clearly. There could be some illusion that is going on. Be patient with that. It does have its purpose, and it will show that. But yeah, overall, you could be doing really well with money. There could be more. It could be coming or going. That is going to be very unique. But the journey here is the energy is always the energy behind it. So money comes and goes, and there needs to be some fluidity in accepting that part of the world, of how things work. We can't hold on to everything and expect more to come flowing in. So if this is a time where you're seeing your finances, something's getting cut, know that it's going to create space for something better to come along. This is still a very fated karmic energy. Venus is in your 12th house, which can mean that you are enjoying pleasure behind the scenes. It can also sometimes mean a loss of money, and it's connected to the nodes. So if there is some sort of financial loss, know that this is really fated, that it's making room for something better, and that can be a really hard thing to trust in when we're going through those specific changes. So if that's you, Scorpio, just know that you're making room for better and more, because your self-worth is on fire. It is growing, and it is really going to be shown at this time where you're at with that, and where you're at with your deep, intimate connections with other people. So, I hope that this is overall going really well for you, Scorpio, and that the abundance of it all is showing up. And if it's not right now, know that it will. And happy full moon to you. I'll see you next time. Sagittarius, this is a full moon in partnerships for you. And you are another one of the signs where the angles of your chart are lit up. So that is the 1st, 7th, 10th, and 4th house. Maybe not the 10th so much, but your 1st, 7th, and 4th for sure. And that's a big deal. So that has to do with self, your psychology. You especially are going to be feeling more anger, frustration, passion, action. You with Mars in your house, this is the 2 months out of every 2 years where you are fueled up and fiery and ready to go. And Sag, you already have some fire to support you in your actions, but now even more so. This is also your birthday month, so happy birthday to the Sages out there. And yeah, this is big energy for you. Whatever is coming to light at this time has to do with your significant partnerships. and very likely some aspects with home as well. Whether these are two different stories or the same story, whatever has been unclear and foggy is now getting some forward momentum when it comes to your home life. This is your inner world as well. So that which is inside that you don't show the rest of the world very readily, this has to do with family, lineage, and upbringing, and what you bring into this world from your family, the way that you were raised. How does that make you the person that you are? And how is that affecting your words right now? There might be some fogginess, maybe there's some lack of clarity that you are delivering when it comes to home-related matters. If you're communicating with your family, are you being clear, or are you glazing over some detail to make things look better than they are? There also might be the desire to mentally check out and just take a break. But you, at the same time, you're being fired up with some more mental activity and communication activity too. So mixed bag, definitely no escaping the passionate activation of Mars energy of getting things done. Your psychology might feel on fire. You are another sign where inflammatory conditions might be more of something you're dealing with. Be careful of cuts and bumps and little accidents too. You're getting positive vibes in your house of friendships still, but there might be something that leaves at this time when it comes to a female or friendships or something in your community, or a way that you have fun and express yourself when it comes to your social communities. Something might be changing there. Overall, this is an opportunity for you to express yourself in ways that you might generally hold back. Sagittarius, you are always focused on the higher perspective, spiritual seeking. This isn't all Sagittarians, of course, but a lot of you are. That's part of the Sagittarius quality. You want to seek higher knowledge, and you have a passion with sharing that with the world. And this full moon is going to be a time where you are fired up in sharing those passions and sharing your perspective. And yeah, especially with your significant partners, especially when it comes to home-related matters. And overall, yeah, that's I hope you're doing well with it. Let me know in the comments below how this is showing up for you, Sagittarius, and enjoy this extra boost of energy. I'll see you next time. Capricorn, this full moon is happening for you in your 6th house, which is all about your habits. How do you manage your day-to-day activities? What's going on at work for you? This could have to do with employees if you have them. This is also where health issues can show up. So if you've been going through anything with your health, something could be illuminated or amplified during this full moon energy. But with this 6th house and 12th house axis being lit up with this full moon, you have a lot of energy in your 12th house too. And this is where we check out of our day-to-day activities. This is escapism. This could be travel to faraway places or hidden things, unseen things, hidden enemies are here. So this full moon has the potential to show you something that was in your blind spot, something that you weren't aware of. And it could really highlight how you avoid life. Do you avoid life? Are there certain parts of life that you would rather turn a blind eye to and escape from? And if you have any habits that are encouraging escapism, this is a full moon where that could come to a head, and it's time to just cut those things out. This energy is going to support that. So this could be really positive, even though this activates potentially this part of our chart is not always seen in good light. These are things that as humans, when it comes to habits or a day-to-day existence, it's not the most fun part of our chart. But with a full moon like this, it has the potential to really change how you've been going about things. And I think it's really fitting because you are finishing up this huge Pluto transit. This has been going on since 2008, and it is restructuring everything about you, your psychology, how you operate in this world, your body, how you're seen by others. It's a really big deal. And I know that Capricorns out there have been experiencing a bit of a pressure cooker, it's like everything's pressurizing in your system as you're about to release Pluto from your first house, or where your sun is, or your moon, if that's the case with your Capricorn. It's going to be a huge shift in January when Pluto goes into Aquarius. We had a taste of it earlier this year. But this is what these more intense energies, I think, are speaking to for Capricorn. This is a whole change of self, and that is not a light thing, especially as we're in the final stages of it. It's like anything that you haven't transformed, that's not meant to go with you for the next 20-year cycle, it's gonna pop before the end of the year. And I think you're feeling it. So communication, writing projects, internet, website stuff, reading, writing, that is where you're going to get a bit more clarity and hopefully support. But I think for you, this communication is that there is subconscious anger that is coming to the surface, and it can't be held back anymore. You're adding structure to it, so the words are going to be supported by Saturn and the structure that you're learning to put in place when it comes to your communication. But dealing with Mars in your 12th house, it can either subdue anger or bring, I think at a full moon, this is a point of illumination, so it's going to bring up anger that has been just in the background and in the subconscious for a lot of you. And it's time to get it out with the words and communication. It might be a bit foggy at first and not easy and not clear, but you have a mix of support there when it comes to Saturn and Neptune, that the words might be tricky, but they will come. And in fact, sometimes when we have trouble expressing ourselves is when we learn even better techniques and tools to get past that. So if you are feeling that struggle, I'm sure you're going to just tap into even better ways of bringing things up. I hope this one is lovely for you, Capricorn. You have Venus support in your 10th house, so publicly your reputation is glowing. People are seeing you in a really lovely light, and there could be some loss of a female when it comes to career or some status. For some of you, that's a small thing that's going on in the background, but a thing nonetheless. And if there are any females leaving, or a source of pleasure when it comes to your career and public image or finances related to that maybe not, just know that is a fated shift. And full moons can certainly create closures, and if there is one going on, just know that it is meant to be. So good luck, Capricorn. Just a couple more months to go before the contractions that you have been going through turn into this beautiful expansion of everything you have learned since 2008. Mwah. Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 5th house. So this is a fun house to have a full moon. It could be hobbies, creative projects, children, pleasure, how you show the world your God-given talents and expression, and this is our house of joy. God-given talents and expression are a source of joy in our lives, and this is a time where something is coming to fruition for you in that department. This also really lights up your 11th house of friendships and wishes coming true. But this is either a very passionate, exciting energy, or there could be some conflict and severing of social groups at this time. Or something that you used to find fun and pleasurable is you're maybe changing your perspective on that. Venus is in your 9th house right now, traveling with the South Node, and that means that something that you used to find pleasurable from a perspective of how you view the world is maybe changing. Maybe things that you brought with you from a past life are no longer how you view the world, and that means that your friendships are changing. There are some lovely attributes when it comes to Venus right now in your friendship house. So I do think that for a lot of Aquarians out there, there's some pleasure in the sky. But Saturn is still asking you to express your self-worth and be very disciplined when it comes to your assets and what you do with your time and energy. You have a tendency to be more vague and elusive with your resources, and this is asking to change that and apply more structure, discipline, and so that you can depend on those resources, so that you can treat your body really well and eat really well and put money in the right places, spend money on the right things. And you're starting to see through any illusions that you have had when it comes to how you spend money and energy and how you treat your body. I hope this is a fun one, Aquarius. You have potential to be having more fun at this time than some of the other signs. So soak that up, go out and play. It's almost your birthday season, and you're going to go into a phase shortly where you might be feeling a bit more introspective before your birthday comes around in the new year. So I hope you're doing well out there. I'll see you next time. Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 4th house. So you are another sign where the energy is hitting some significant parts in your chart. And it's going to have a lot to do with your balance of home and public. What do you share with the world, and what do you keep inside? Pisces is a sign that is generally more private. They tend to see a lot, feel a lot, and express that through creative projects, but not always expressing what they see and feel to everybody. My sense is that that's because it's so different than what a lot of people experience in this world. But during this full moon, Pisces, I think you're being encouraged to share more of your inner world with the outer world. People want to see the world through your eyes. You make amazing artists and photographers because you share your perspective that way, and it touches a part of humanity and acknowledges a part of humanity that a lot of people don't focus on when it comes to the subtle energy that works through all of us. Most of the signs are more practical minded and more material and in this world, but Pisces, you have one foot always in the unseen realm and maybe like 2 toes in the practical world, and that depends on what is in your personal chart as far as how much Pisces energy you have and how that affects you. But share it with the world. If you are feeling passionate about something right now, the world wants to see it, and you have the ability, you have some planets working in your favor to express yourself, express your psychology, and let it out. Just let it all out. Maybe even Saturn's helping with adding a filter, some structure, but this could be unfiltered expression in some way. And I'm sure it's going to be beautiful coming from a Pisces. And with Venus in your 8th house right now, you could be really adding a beautiful tone to the darkness in the world. There could be healing and art and indulgence somehow in intimate connections or psychological healing. And that is something that is connected with a fated journey that's unfolding for you. So Pisces, people are watching, and this is really a time to put whatever you have to offer on display and show the world who you are. Show them the most inner private parts of you, and it's probably going to be fairly well received. And I think this is a good exercise in structured expression is the theme here. And you're learning to put more structure around yourself and who you are. And that might, because Pisces is so permeable, that structure that you're learning to put around yourself might give you more support to share yourself with others. And that could be a part of this big Pluto transformation with you when it comes to how you operate with community. And Pluto's a little bit more silent right now, but I do think that because we're closing out this big cycle there, that has an overarching energy into everything we're going through until the end of the year. And I think that this is changing who you are on a social level. So enjoy. Hi Aries. This is a full moon in your 3rd house. So this is a call to action with sharing your perspective through words, through writing. What are you doing with the learning that you have had up until this point? And is there a way that you can document it, share it with the world, write it down, express yourself in some form of media? There is restriction happening with the way that you escape from things. So if you Aries has Pisces in the 12th house naturally, and that is a very dreamy way of escapism. But right now the energy is asking you to have a bit more discipline with any tendencies to escape. And not that we don't, we certainly need to escape and check out and do all of those things. But there's something that's changing with your mindset and your perspective that is helping you add more structure to how you enjoy escapism. But really this energy is about expressing what you've learned about life to this point. You might be publishing something or teaching something, and that has some beautiful fated energy that's playing out. You have Venus in your partnership house right now, so partners of any kind, significant relationships are likely going really well. There could be some fated changes around that, but this isn't a full moon of nodal activation as far as eclipse, but it's still playing a role with Venus traveling close to the south node. So something about partnerships and pleasure is changing, but it's likely changing because your perspective on the world is changing, and there's communication around it that's really supportive. So I see this generally being good for partnerships, and overall just more of a perspective change for you. Travel could be in the cards for some Aries out there, long distance, short distance travel. Maybe something's changing with your siblings, neighbors, neighborhood, close relatives, and more likely it is communication for Aries out there. You're working on how to express what's on your mind, express how you really see things from a higher perspective, and add that to how you're seen in the world a little bit more. So I hope you're having a wonderful time, Aries. I'll see you next time. Hi, Taurus. This is a full moon in your second house. So this is a money house for you. This is the house that's ruled by Taurus. But if you're Taurus rising or Taurus sun, moon, this is your second house. So this has to do with your values, your assets, how you spend your energy and money. And there's a lot of energy as well right now when it comes to other people's money, other people's resources. How do you connect with other people? How do you use other people's resources to your advantage or not? This house rules death, taxes, birth, rebirth. Any of those topics could come up right now. There could be some friends coming in and out of your life. You might be restructuring your community and network, and somehow that is tied into the story at the time of this full moon. This is a full moon that highlights a lot of psychological topics for you. So you could be going through some psychological healing and transformation, and that being brought up with issues around or topics around self-worth. Not that you have to have issues around self-worth, but that there's something that's connected in the story there. For Taurus, there's some restructuring happening with your community, your friends. Stuff that maybe wasn't clear is starting to gain more clarity, and you're starting to put more structure around the social connections that you have. If you are part of any humanitarian efforts or groups, bigger groups in general, there might be some restructuring that's happening. Words now could come from a place of lack of psychological healing, whether it's you or other people, and I think this is connected to your friend networks. So keep that in mind, which you're probably already going to be aware of, but keep that in mind if somebody starts spewing out things or saying things that just doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right. I mean, sometimes we need to hear those things, but it's likely that it could be the other way around. It could be that your own pain and psychological stuff is coming out and affecting your friend connections right now. So keep that in mind. If you feel like you're getting really frustrated with your friends and your groups and your community, there might be something that's going on inside of you that is asking for attention and wanting to be acknowledged and transformed. There's a sense of projecting here for Taurus people right now. So be mindful of that and know that whatever is showing up in your outer world could be a mirror to show you something about yourself. And Taurus, you're still going through this big transformation of yourself and your psychology with Uranus and Jupiter in the first house. And who you are is really expanding. And with that expansion sometimes comes looking at parts of ourselves that have been more hidden. And that might be coming up for you with this full moon. But ultimately, it is going to show you where your self-worth is and how you want to be treating yourself moving forward. So maybe friends are holding up mirrors of how you want to treat yourself, and you're looking at friends and saying how they do it, and you want to do more like that. Or maybe you're criticizing your friends and you don't want to be like them. You want to act in ways that support your self-worth and support your finances. This is a financial full moon for you, so something could be coming to fruition when it comes to your finances, and I hope that it is in all the best ways. you are getting activation from a house of dreams coming true. So there is a bit of fogginess, be aware of that, but this could be very positive energy coming in for Taurus. And work is probably trucking along well. Your day-to-day habits, your beauty routines, your stuff might be changing there, but you're generally feeling pretty good about it. So I hope that this is an easy and gentle one on you, Taurus. Overall, just be aware that what's showing up right now is for psychological examination. And hopefully it has some financial gift and benefit coming with it, because that's how worth works in astrology, is that when our own energy is full of love and appreciation, then the abundance follows. And nobody knows that better than a Taurus. So maybe you're teaching other people that, or maybe you're just reaching new levels of it. That could be a thing, but this is certainly where your inner world is lighting up, your material possessions could be lighting up, and you're really figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. Just be careful of projecting onto other people. Just know that whatever is going on out there is likely more about in here. It'll just use it as a projection of a story to tell you something, and keep it at that. Don't let it get too personal or frustrating in your dealings with your community and social circles. Hope everything's going well, Taurus. I'll see you next time. Gemini, this is your full moon. Very exciting, very big energy. This is all about you. So anything that you've been working on when it comes to your psychology, your body, your personal development, that is coming to light. And it likely has to do with other people. Something to do with your partner could be very fiery and passionate. I hope that you are getting all of the best of this Mars energy in your 7th house. There's just could be a lot of focus on partners, partnerships, contracts. Your partner could be very chatty at this time. There might be more communication with your significant others. There might be a lot of contracts to write depending on what type of work you're in. Do know that there is, if it comes to work-related contracts, there's a mix of clarity and lack of clarity when it comes to work and image and how you're seen in the world. But this also could have to do with your career creating some fogginess around your words. There might be somebody that's not being very truthful when it comes to career and your image, and maybe that's coming to light right now. So, and maybe there's some severing as a result. So if somebody's being dishonest, it could be time to make some cuts. This could be just a very creative download and energy that comes to you that's supportive for work. So hope that this is going well for you. Creativity is generally blessed right now. You have Venus in your 5th house, so you are enjoying probably more pleasure and joy and creativity, and that is hopefully a saving grace with some of the tense, more abrupt energy that could be happening. Your ability to be expressive and creative is heightened right now, so this is a really good time to put energy into a creative project and joy and hobbies and bliss. And maybe you are having some conversations with other people that are connected to those pursuits, and those are going really well, and that's a saving grace with this energy. Ultimately, this could be contracts coming and going, and I hope that it is doing good. I hope that it is bringing you all the best, Gemini. I will see you next time. Hi, Cancer. This is a full moon in your 12th house. So something that was hidden is coming to light. Something that you didn't see, your blind spot is being highlighted right now. And it is with the intention of healing wounds around how you're seen in the world. Something is changing about your karmic destiny when it comes to your public image. And Chiron is there, which is your wounded healer from past lives. That energy is connecting in a beautiful way to this full moon. So whatever is being shown to you right now is, it might be jarring with some of this heightened Mars energy, but it's ultimately going to help you move forward in a way that is just seen better in the world, better reputation. A lot of the intense energy, the activation energy on the other side of the moon where the sun is in Sagittarius is your 6th house. So this is your day-to-day activities. You are on fire. You're getting stuff done. You have the energy to do it. You might be cutting out any bad habits. You might be motivated to bring in new habits. Your communication with employees in your day-to-day life is getting highlighted. There's something that's unclear about your perspective on life, and that is getting restructured, and that's affecting your hobbies, habits, and how you operate on a day-to-day life, how you operate on a day-to-day basis. And there could be some stuff that is going really well at home. There could be some female related energy that is coming to a close at home, that's reached its fated time, that's from a past life, and is now you're meant to move on to a new way of being. So if there's some sort of feminine energy that's ending at home, that's creating room for something new. Ultimately, Cancer, you are restructuring your perspective on the world. Your views are changing. There might be some foreign topics that you are learning, and that is changing your day-to-day activities and events. And if you have employees, there could be some harsh communication from your employees that changes your perspective. Something in the work environment even could come up communication-wise that starts to help these perspective shifts that you're going through as far as a bigger Saturn picture. Overall, this is hopefully a gentle one for you, Cancer. I see it more in the workplace and habits showing up. And yeah, you're healing some public image stuff, however that looks for each of you. So, and enjoy those home blessings. That's been going on for a little while now, and Cancers really love having that Venus energy at home. It's a nice one for you. So enjoy that home pleasure, and I will see you next time. Hi Leo, this is a 11th house full moon for you. So this has to do with your friends, community, networks at large. This is a fun place to have a full moon usually. So this full moon could be bringing a lot of passion to play and fun and your hobbies and creative projects. You're a sign that if you have children, your children could be acting a bit more erratically right now. Be patient and know that that's going to pass. If that's the case, they could be pushing their boundaries and expressing things in ways that are more challenging for parents to deal with. But I see this as a fun energy, that you're feeling passionate about romance and dating and creative pursuits. There is a dreaminess to how you're connecting in intimate ways with other people, yet a structure that is being asked to be implemented as well. And dreaminess, really, it's a lovely headspace to be, but it does best when we have that complement of structure with it. So we're not totally head in the clouds and rose-colored glasses. There's an aspect of grounded, practical energy that goes along with it. And you're probably feeling pretty good about that for the most part. The communication with joy and pleasure and creativity is really lit up for you more than other signs. If you have creative stuff on the go, this is wonderful energy to tap into and really set your creative projects on fire. And you're still getting a lot of visibility and public image energy. So this could be wishes coming true in some way that heals your perspective and heals your ability, how you view the world, and your ability to share that with other people. There's some energy that might be getting cut out with siblings, neighbors, close relatives, short distance travel. Maybe something's changing there, and maybe you used to find short distance travel pleasurable and now you're not making room for it as much, or the other way around. Those are a couple of possibilities. Overall, I hope that this is a passionate energy for you, Leo. There's a lot of excitement when it comes to how it's showing up in your chart, and with everybody it's going to be very individual, but I see this being a fun one. So tap into that creativity, Leo, and let it increase how you connect with other people on an intimate level, but also psychological healing that could come as a result of this creativity. So hope you are having a wonderful time, and I'll see you next time. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. This is a mixed bag of energy, but do be patient, and whatever fire is brewing inside of you, let it out with all of the support of Saturn that is creating structure and opportunity to carry the right words forward and make this an impactful, driven time that lets things out and allows us to create change for our days moving forward.